the Christian Circle podcast, and you're listening to Pamela Fernandes, where we have conversations about Christian living. Here's the show. Hello. So last week I promised that I was going to get a second recording done by the end of the month. And I'm happy to say that I have recorded with one of my friends. And so we have this episode, the second episode of the Christian Circle podcast, that is with Ronita Fernandes. Now, Ronita Fernandes is actually a musician. She plays the piano. She also sings, and she is a worship leader. I met her for the first time here in Bombay at our prayer group. And Ronita is one of those people who's very encouraging. You know, she loves bringing in the team, building up the group. She's very, very high on outreach. And so when we actually met the first time, I was very shy. I mean, I wanted to sing, and I didn't really want to stand in front of the crowd. I was a bit soft. And Ronita was the one who kind of said, you know, you've got a good voice. Why don't you do X, Y, Z? And she taught me about training in the ministry and listening to more music, notes, pitch, modulation, and things like that. So now Ronita has actually moved, and she's no longer here in Bombay. She's moved to London. So in the UK, she is the face of the Westminster Cathedral. She works there, and basically I've asked her to come and talk about what ministry is like. You know, the praise and worship, the music ministry is something that is really not something that you take lightly. It's a big responsibility. And Ronita is going to talk all about that responsibility and accountability.
So, hi, I'm Ronita.
Okay.
Used to be a housewife.
Okay.
The past roughly around 10 years.
Okay.
And now I've begun working again.
Okay.
What else would you like to know about me being a Christian, you said, right?
Yeah.
And how I first joined. I think I used to attend Father Rufus's meetings at the Mary Immaculate School Hall, primary school hall rather. And that's where it actually began, where I first saw Ronita singing. And after a while I kind of felt the calling to sing, but never went up, never approached Ronita because I was too nervous, or rather too scared.
How old were you then?
I think I was 16.
Oh my, okay.
Yeah, I was 16 because that's when I had my first, experience of God.
Okay.
So after my first retreat, I thought, okay, let's start singing, because I used to sing before that in school and everything, but never in a proper choir.
So that's where you started.
Yeah, I finally took up the courage and asked Unita and Victor if I could join them. And they were like, not immediately, because they needed to ask the core group and everything, because it was a healing and deliverance ministry.
Okay.
So, because of the kind of cases that used to come up, they needed the person to be, well prepared and everything. So they asked the group leader, which was Uday then, and he was okay with it. And they kind of got me started initially.
But I just wanted to ask you, like, what made you realize that you were meant to be? You know, sometimes everyone has this feeling, and sometimes it's just a passing thing that they want to sing or they want to be part of a worship team. But what convinced you that this is what I want to do, this is my ministry?
Actually, to start with, it began with because I used to sing as a child as well. So, in school, as I told you before, for competitions, not exactly, we used to have these choir competitions and all in school. So, the teachers used to make me a part of the group and everything. So, that's where it actually started. The singing actually started. But the calling to ministry began after the first inner healing retreat, where I used to feel very uneasy if I could not sing. I can't explain it, but it was this need, or rather this desire to keep singing for God, and to help others experience the same thing as well, to lead others to experience the same thing as well, is more like it.
That's an intrinsic kind of a purpose that you had, like, within you.
Yes, and it came more and more through personal prayer. I mean, every time I got into personal prayer, the need kept increasing.
Okay.
So that's the reason I got into it.
So would you say that it's necessary for somebody to be a fantastic singer, or is it like you can train somebody like who has an average voice, and make them be fantastic?
No, you don't need to be a fantastic singer for praise and worship, because all you need is a heart of worship. That's it.
Okay, yeah,
sometimes the most fantastic singers cannot lead praise and worship.
Yeah.
You could always have people singing along with you. I mean, you know how it happens. They have a praise and worship leader, and then they have the music ministry, the group sing.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you don't need to always have a fantastic voice. I think that would be, you need to know what praise and worship is about. That is more than having a voice.
Okay.
I mean, because Florine from our group, she taught me what was commitment all about. I've learned commitment from Florine, perseverance from Florine.
Yeah.
And these are the values, she has taught me these values as a singer.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's necessary to have a good singing voice.
So,
you have to have a heart of worship.
You can still, with an average voice, you can still be, part of the music ministry, right? It's not necessary that you have to be like.
Exactly. With an average voice, you can still be a part of the music ministry. And as you were saying, in the due course of time, you learn how to sing. So it's a sort of a training ground in itself, because you learn how to kind of hit the right notes, modulate your voice. Yeah. It comes with time. It doesn't happen overnight.
How much of this music and praise and worship as a ministry is actually about service? Because you see a lot of times, it's all about the clapping, and I know I have a friend who always says, when the music rises, you rise. But how much of it is actually service and not about the starry role that people think it is?
That would depend on the individual in the ministry.
Okay.
Because it depends on what is their idea towards praise and worship, because not many of them understand that you need to kind of reach out to someone else and sometimes not stand up there and sing. Because there are times when your family comes first.
Yeah.
And you need to reach out to your family first rather than go in for a praise and worship session, and sing and sort of lead praise and worship or whatever. You have to sometimes back down. At other times, sometimes you are called to help out with a certain thing. Like over here, I mean, since we've begun a new group, and the praise and worship group, although we are in the music ministry, we are going around setting up everything, right from the projector to the chairs to kind of calling up people, asking them where they are, whether they are coming in for the praise and worship or the prayer meeting. So even apart from that, apart from the music and from the prayer meeting, after the prayer meeting is what counts, basically. So keeping in touch with the people who really require our help, bonding with them. Bonding is really crucial, because it makes you very sensitive to the other person's needs, and it helps you grow as well as a group. Over here, I have to be very.
Fellowship is important, right? And fellowshipping with
it's the horizontal and vertical dimension that we have. It works the same with the group as well. So I see that happening. I really see that happening, because we've bonded both in prayer and as a group in fellowship as well. It's not just like, only being friends and the happy-go-lucky kind of lifestyle. We've bonded a lot in prayer as well, and surprisingly, some of our musicians who were not charismatic ended up loving it so much just through watching us that they feel that they want to come for it every time. You know, they feel the need to be a part of it just by watching.
It's infectious, no?
Yeah, it is infectious, but it is more infectious because of your actions rather than even the singing, rather than even the music. Yes, the music does attract.
Yeah.
But after the music, then what?
Your witnessing has affected that.
Yeah, the witnessing has to affect, because that's when everything then becomes one whole unit to be combined together. Because if you only go and sing and there is no action after that, it is completely pointless, because the people within the group start losing hope.
So you were talking about, you mentioned prayer also before, right? And I think that's something that a lot of people leave out. Like, they're so busy with life and ministry that prayer takes a back seat. What is the role of prayer supporting a worship leader and a musician or a singer in the ministry?
I'll tell you something what Mithun has told me, that this was a long time ago. It was when we were having one of our discussions. It's something like the word of God, when you pray and the word of God, it's something like when you have a computer, okay, you have to program the computer to work. To function well enough, you have to feed in certain data, you have to feed in certain programs, and that's when the computer will function and work smoothly. In the same way, we as human beings need to be fed the word of God to lead a complete life. Without that, we're going to run dry, we're going to run empty, and it's going to be impossible to lead life without the word of God.
So what is your prayer routine like? I mean, just so that people can know, before, like, what is your preparation before you're going out for your practice, before you go out to sing? What is your prayer like?
It's not only before going out to sing or before going out for practice. It's an everyday thing.
Okay.
It cannot only be on certain occasions or at certain times, because at least I feel that prayer is constant. In the smallest areas, I mean, it's like when I'm having a bath, I'm singing, rather praying, or when I'm traveling, I'll either say the rosary or I'll have my conversation with God. At home, during personal prayer time, it's reading the Bible or, so forth. I mean...
So you're in tune all the time,
Yeah, you need to be in tune all the time, because, I mean, life doesn't stop at any minute, does it? It's constant. So it's the same thing with prayer. I mean, when we're cooking sometimes, we either have the YouTube on with hymns or something like that. There are times when we just, even if we have to relax and lie down, we'll just play hymns on the YouTube and just listen. That is as well a form of prayer, and we're singing. And also, we need God to minister to us constantly. So that's what I think. Prayer is always constant.
So,
I mean, you do have that specific time sometimes, because you do get distracted with other around, and you need to make that specific time. But I think it's constant, Pamela. To be very honest.
And just to let everybody know, Mithun is Ronita's husband. So for those who don't know, and he's quite a techie and he knows all about computers, so his analogy stands in this case. So what would you say to somebody now, let's say you meet a friend and they want to be part of the ministry, they say they want to sing, they say they felt a calling, they've prayed over it. How do they go about it? Whom do they approach? What would be the normal steps that someone has to take?
I think the normal step for someone, to be very honest, is the first step is normally discerning whether they are actually called to that ministry. And I mean, you may have a feeling, and faith is not based on feelings. You have to go through a process of discernment. So what we normally do is, even back home in India and over here as well, is people who want to join, we ask them to be a part of the group first.
Okay.
See what they feel, see what they like doing.
Okay.
You know, what they feel comfortable doing, because it is not necessary that you want to sing,
Yeah.
but it's not necessary that you do feel comfortable to stand up in front of everyone and sing.
Okay.
Because many of them have the stage fear and, you know, the stage thing and all that sort of, they feel uncomfortable. So it's good to give them time to first, you know, experience the whole prayer group, the music ministry, to experience everything, to be a part of it, but yet not at the forefront.
Yeah.
And then to give them time to discern and then decide whether they can continue.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
To give their commitment. To give their commitment to whichever area they choose. It's not necessary only to the music ministry. It could even depend if they want to be a part of the intercessory group, if they want to be a part of the service ministry, the core team, whatever.
Okay.
So discernment is a key factor to all that.
Okay. So now let's say you're in the ministry, okay, and you've been singing and you've been you've been leading worship. You know, you tend to get into that swing of things where it becomes all about you and not about Him. So how do you prevent that from happening? You know, how do you shift that focus back again to God and tell people that you're just a vessel, you're just the creation, not the creator. So how do you redirect that back?
That's very difficult, actually. It differs from person to person. It differs on what is their kind of, I would say, relationship with God, where that stands first. Because they need to be convinced themselves first that it is before they can convince others that it is God. Otherwise, it's always going to be me, myself, and I. You know, it's happening. I am kind of doing this because I'm kind of doing that. Yeah, there are some people who do very honestly think of it like that, but let's not go there.
Yeah.
So the thing is, it's constant, you know, introspection of yourself. It's constantly humbling yourself before God. For me, I'll tell you through my own experience. I've had people. I mean, as I've told you, we've become a new prayer group, and it's been like 3 months.
Yeah.
And there are people who come. Oh, you have an amazing voice. Oh, you sing so well, and how do you lead so well? And for probably it can. I mean, when someone compliments you, you do feel kind of giddy-headed. Yeah. Believe me, it's like, oh, the person thinks I'm good. Anyone would feel giddy-headed.
Yeah.
But for me, it's always, because I know my own imperfections. As Psalm 51 says, you know your own sins, and they're constant before you. You know that you are a sinful person, and it is only God who's, you know, without sin. And that's what I constantly feel. I mean, because when you are in touch with God, you know you are not perfect. So how can it be you who is leading a perfect praise and worship that people like and not? And I mean, for me, even during personal prayer, it's always asking God to create a heart of humility, because you never know when pride can enter.
Yeah, that's true.
It's very
easy.
Yeah, it is very easy, because I mean, people keep boosting you, people keep encouraging you. Of course, they mean well. It's not that they, intend to mean you harm, but people always mean well when they are encouraging you, giving you words of like, oh, you're really good, so on and so forth. But that prayer always needs to be a part of your life. That motto always needs to be that you need to be humble, no matter what people say.
Okay.
And I think that only comes through God's grace. It doesn't come through anything else.
Yes, yeah. Any lesson that you've learned from your own experience, from all these years that you want to specifically share with our listeners, like about your ministry throughout? Something specific that has revolutionized your entire perception of your ministry, has changed something.
Huh. um, you probably know personally about what I've been through in my life.
Yeah.
Specifically, where my health has been an issue constantly.
Yeah.
It's been a life or death battle at every step of the way, through numerous surgeries, through numerous miscarriages, ectopic pregnancies. It's been
there's been a lot
how
of
would
loads.
I say? It's been a rough ride, yes. Yes. He has not been there to rescue me from it.
Okay.
And believe me, I've found really low where I completely gave up on religion as well.
Okay.
It's not just me, my husband, we just gave up. And at that point, the time reach out to us. When we want God to reach out to us, what's the best part? So no matter what I've realized, the life lesson is never give up. Because you never know, the miracle is right around the corner and you never know when it's going to happen.
That's true.
We always say every dark cloud has a silver lining, and all this kind of phrases and many different things. But through experience, I know the miracle is right around the corner, and nothing, believe me now, nothing can shake that.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, nothing can shake that faith. And that only comes through going through really horrible times.
Okay.
Because I was bedridden for almost 10 years, hardly able to move. And the days that I did move out was really a blessing for me. And now, after those tough years, I'm able to start working again. That in itself is
a blessing,
Yeah, that itself is a big miracle, actually. Constantly everyone at home is worried because I tire out very easily, but yet I can keep going, every day, keep going to work. So that it is a big miracle, and it shows that God is in control.
Okay, so that was Ronita Fernandes explaining to us about worship, music ministry, what life is like in that ministry. And hopefully you've got an idea, and if you feel that you have a calling towards the music ministry, the worship ministry, and you're not really sure, or you want us to pray for you, feel free to reach out to us. And if you want to go to one of those charismatic prayer groups that Ronita chairs and leads worship at, then you can go to the Sacred Heart Parish. That's every alternate Tuesdays that they have a prayer meeting at around 7. You can get in touch with the parish and find out more about their meetings. And they're only going to resume now in January, so we hope you can go and visit them and be a part of their service and be a part of their ministry and see what it's all about if you're in the area. And like I said, we're going to give a prize, and since we've talked about music this month, I have a CD, so I'm giving away a Christian worship CD, and I will ship it to any place in the world. Yeah, I know I said India, but I'm willing to ship it anywhere in the world. And if it's possible with our local shipping company or our local courier company, all you've got to do is send in your name and your email address. Tweet me at Pamela Q Ferns, and then we will just do a lucky draw and then send it out to our winner. So that's one music CD. I'm not really sure which one, but I know that there is a Christian music CD available that we're sending out to anybody who wins the lucky draw. So that's one CD. That's a gift for this month. And so that's the giveaway. I hope we hear from a lot of you, and let us know what you think about the podcast. So, me signing off. Hopefully we can get another podcast episode ready by the end of this month, and then we'll see. Alright, so bye-bye and God bless. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you could tweet me at Pamela Q Ferns. I'm also on Facebook at Pamela Q Fernandes, or you could check out my blog called An Apple's Mind's View, where you can subscribe or email me using the contact form. So see you next time. Until then, God bless and take care.